What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Palworld video. And today, guys, I'll be showing to you how to get oil in the new update. Now, guys, there are a couple of different ways you can go about it. One of the better ways that you should get set up straight away are these oil refineries. So these are learned at level 50. You will gain the technology to craft the crude oil extractor, and it requires 250 PAL metal ingots and 50 circuit boards. The next stage that you need to do then is track down these oil node locations. Now, these spawn pretty much across the entire island. There are plenty of them on the new island over here in the top left corner of... There are plenty of them over here on the top left corner of the map, but they do actually spawn pretty much all over the base island as well over here. So you can find them pretty much anywhere. Now, what you need to do is simply track them down, build a base location over the top of where they are, and then place your oil extractors down. Now, the oil extractors require a large amount of electricity, so you will need to build the new power generator. You can see here as well is a location with 2 oil nodes. I apologize, it is coming up to dark. I picked a terrible time to start recording. So here are 2 of the oil nodes here. Let's just grab that so you guys can see what's going on and what they look like. So you'll see small amounts of oil bubbling out of them. That's how you know these are the spots to place your extractor down. Now, like I mentioned, you will need the big new generator that is learned at level 49. So this is a great way to power up the oil machines. I have one of these as well as one of the basic power generators, and that is enough to keep my 2 oil generators running. I do also have 2 ore circs running on that, as well as a Grisbolt running the power electricity generator, the smaller one. Now, you can also find oil in supply drops. They do spawn sporadically inside of these, however, so keep that in mind. They're not the most reliable method to get oil, but it is possible to receive oil from the supply drops that will fall down from the sky. Now, another method is through these scrap piles. In these scrap piles, you can gather them and you will occasionally find oil in them. However, once again, I wouldn't really recommend doing this to try and get a decent amount of oil, as it's not going to work very well. Now, next up, the next best way to go about getting oil is from the oil rig. On the oil rig is a bunch of enemies, and there is also the location of a supply cache that has quite an abundance of oil in it. So about 130 from what I have found in testing it. So getting to it can be rather difficult, however, you do need to be careful. I've found a couple of different ways to go about doing it, because if you decide to use a rider, or a flyer I should say, you'll find that you get targeted with laser beams. You can see there we are getting targeted with laser beams. So what I do with the flyer is I'll generally fly up as high as I can, get as close as I can, and then I will glide as far as I can down to it before pulling out another land-based mount. Now, what I've got is a Fanglope and Phaleris. Obviously, if you've got Cjthecheesedj and stuff like that, you will be able to move a lot faster, and Cjthecheesedj could probably dodge majority of the laser beams as well. Now, you're probably noticing Fanglope's health is decreasing. Yeah, it's fine. As long as it gets us closest to the target, that's what matters. So you can use a variety of land ones. You can also use swimming pals as well. Swimming pals will do the job for you as well. Obviously, you don't want your Fanglope to die because it will result in you having a harder time completing this. But you can still use land-based mounts in the water, and they still move pretty decently fast. So on this oil rig, you will need to find the location of the crate. Now, from my testing, it doesn't seem to change locations all that much. It does seem to be in one room. However, we'll double check that theory when we get on board and see if there's still the chest in the normal spot that I expect it to be. Now, this is a very difficult raid, and the enemies do drop crude oil here as well. So every time you kill an enemy, depending on what your rate multiplier is, sometimes they will drop the crude oil as well, which you can pick up. So that does tend to help. But this is the room just here where I have found the oil cache before. So we'll go in here and see if it's still in here. If not, it possibly has moved and gone to a different location on the map. Cool. So it is no longer here. I'll play a clip of me actually finding it here as well, so you guys can see I'm not just going crazy and talking up stuff. So it does have different locations on the actual map itself. We're just going to blow all these guys sky high because they are annoying. But you can see you do get crude oil from killing these enemies, so it is kind of worth killing them. because you do get a decent amount of crude oil from doing so. You will also find chests on the oil rig that also can result in you receiving a bunch of really good blueprints and schematics as well as extra oil in those as well. And you can see here is the location of the cache behind a Syndicate Crusher. So let's deal with this guy and we'll grab the cache and show you how much oil is in there. Now these caches do change locations. So that first location we visited on the oil rig is where I found the cache before, twice over. And this is obviously another location at the back here. So you can see here, let's just organize our bag a little bit so we don't pick up anything we don't want. Cool. And if we crack this bad boy open, you'll see we'll get a bunch of different stuff from essentially completing this. So it's just a matter of running around and actually trying to find this. Obviously spend some time killing the enemies because they will drop crude oil and they can get very numerous. So we got 50 crude oil from that, some ancient civilization cores, life lotus, and a missile launcher 3 schematic. This is the only place I found where you actually get these ancient civilization cores as well.